Hello and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Now in 2026. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. And this video, in fact, the next 3 videos are going to be rather unusual for me because normally when I am having a look at some sort of add-on, it's always an aircraft. Sometimes, just sometimes, it is an airport. But almost all of the time, this is an aircraft. The last time I did an add-on that wasn't one was quite a long time ago. It has to be years ago that I've checked or had a look at something that is not an aircraft. But that is exactly what I'm going to be doing over the next 2 or 3 videos, depending on how many products I review. Starting with today's product, Flow Pro. Hold on, I'm going to check this. It doesn't tell me. I'm sure it's Flow Pro that I've got. Yes, Flow Pro. Try and say that quickly. Flow Pro by Parallel42. So you just saw it flash up on screen as I was checking it. After the intro, I'll start going into it in more detail. And this is going to be my first impressions and review. This is why there was not an aircraft currently in view, because I'm not going to be flying. It's not going to be the primary, I suppose, the primary goal of this video. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started and let's take a look at a product that I've seen multiple times but only decided to buy once it was available for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which was only a few weeks ago. Right, so first off, we're just going to again remain on the ground. I'm just watching the clouds disappear. Let's go ahead and take a look. So installing Flow Pro is quite easy. Now there are various versions. There's Flow Essentials and Flow Pro, and they give you different things. So if you are somebody who is a content creator, I would say that Flow Pro is more useful to you than if you are not, and that's simply because it has some other integration tools. For example, with Twitch, it allows you to do a few things that perhaps as a content creator you would want to do. In fact, I'm just going to pull this up and give you a list of the differences that you can do with Pro as opposed to Essentials. So in Essentials and Pro, you get the wheel, which we'll be setting up soon, better game panels, aviator tools, and custom nameplates. Now, custom nameplates to me do not matter because I do not tend to fly around in multiplayer, although maybe this will work with in the future. Maybe this will work with Beyond ATC and all of that kind of stuff and put it in. I do not know. But with Flow Pro, you also get interface automations, creative tools, streamer tools, power tools, fully scriptable, and you can download and share community widgets. Now, if you are interested in those kind of things, you would need to go for Flow Pro, which is £28, whilst Flow Essentials is £19. So I have purchased Flow Pro. Installation was very simple, and then all I had to do was once I loaded up Flight Simulator, click on this. It asked me for my order number, and I think it asked me for an authentication code, which I've gone ahead and put in, and now we are here. So you can enable, disable, and restart Flow from the toolbar. Great. It will automatically re-enable the next time you load into a flight. Awesome. The first thing is whether you want to keep the default toolbar. Now, I can always change this in the settings. For now, I'm going to keep it until I have everything set up in Pro or Flow Pro. Right, I'm going to keep it for now, and then I will get rid of it. So it says, time to set up your Flow wheel shortcut. So this is where you have to think about this, because in Microsoft Flight Simulator there are a lot of controls. So look for a control that you are not using. I'm looking around trying to figure out which control I'm not using. Oh, I've just learned that one control that I've just pressed does something that I never knew it did. That's a control I never use, I don't think. Possibly. Okay, so I'll add Do you know what? The easiest control to use is probably that there. Never mind, that's just opened up a console. Maybe not. Okay, I did not realise that was a console. Okay. This is already going to be interesting. Perhaps the hash. Let's try that. Or apparently it says quote. It isn't a quote. This is not a US keyboard. This is a British keyboard. It is hash, the pound symbol, or the tilde, as it were. Let's use that for now. I'm sure I can change it. Oh, I can add more shortcuts if I want. Let's try this one. There we go, on my VKB Gladiator. That might be useful as well. If not, I can always get rid of it. Right. Then, what do we have? Ghost, static, dynamic wheels. So we have ghost wheels dimmed, only visible in the editor. Static wheels white, always visible. Dynamic wheels only show on specific aircraft. Okay. Auto search bar. I'm not going to set that up yet because I have no idea how to use that. So we'll look at it, and then we can get to the settings over there. This is all showing up, by the way, because I'm in developer mode. Okay, good. Apparently we are good to go. So there it is. There's the wheel. Do I press it? It gets rid of it. Brings it up. Okay, it brings it up wherever the mouse is. Cool. That bit in the corner is interesting. So the aircraft I've got, of course, is the aircraft that I tend to use quite often, which is this Piper. This is my go-to light aircraft. I do need to purchase the black square aircraft and take those out for flights, but this is my go-to light aircraft. It's a lovely aircraft to fly. Let's go ahead and see what settings we have available to us. So backup and restore apparently is if you had it from Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, or you had a previous installation of 2024, you could have backed that up and then restore back to it. There are tutorials, so we've just been through that tutorial. Don't need to worry about that. We have the interface, so let's go ahead and bring it up. So let's see what we have. A few things that we can do. Skip to free flight. I think that's a great idea. I never use anything else. What that means is that when I start Microsoft Flight Simulator or go to the main menu, it should skip directly to free flight. We'll be trying that at the end. None of this really matters. Auto select last airport. I remember from Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. No, sorry, Microsoft Flight Simulator 10 and 2004. You could have it loading on the last airport. Skip ready to fly. Skip to briefing screen. That's probably useful for me as well. Just get onto it. Disable the default toolbar. As I said, I shall do that later. And then we've got the UI scale. Is that? It is. So I can make that as tiny as I want it to be. That's a bit too small. Or as large as I want it to be. Honestly, I think 90%-ish is absolutely fine. I think for what I'm doing, that is probably good enough. Good. Okay, now let's have a little bit of a look at the wheel. So we have the wheel scale. Oh, I see. That's slightly different. So perhaps I should have that at 100. And then, no, the wheel scale cannot go down below 100. So if I change that would then be fine. Always centered is probably useful to me because I'll have the mouse all over the place. I do want it to open up in the middle, like so. That's quite useful. There are the shortcuts, so we could change that as we want. Keep open just means that when you actually do something, it will keep it open instead of closing it, and you'd have to click in the middle to actually close that. Not particularly useful, I think. So we have auto, so we could toggle that, and as you can see, it just brings up a search bar. You can type things in and have a command on that. What I could do is probably put that on the wheel, and then a shortcut is perhaps not needed. Simulation. Fix active pause. It disables flight controls and eliminates fuel consumption during active pause. This is brilliant. This is an important thing. So we'll do that. I wonder if that then works with the replays as well, because in the replays, depending on what you are using, you tend to have fuel consumption. I know this because I've run out of fuel before on a replay. Nameplates are the multiplayer nameplates as I was talking about. So realistically, if I was doing this, I would probably force the uppercase. You can change the color for day and night. Let's go old school flight simulator. You know what? Let's just do this. I'm going to put in the hex code. We'll start with DD0000FF. Let's apply that. There we go. That is old school flight simulator colours. And at night, yeah, sure, the pink might do. It isn't as if I use this, so it doesn't really matter. And then we have the Twitch bits, which I do not need to worry about, and the dev tools, which allows me to create scripts, which I might end up doing. Okay, now let's have a look at the wheel and see how the wheel works. So I've brought it up. How do I configure this? Click and hold to edit tiles. OK to delete. What does that do? That's specific for the aircraft. That's radios. That could be really useful to me. And that is cameras, which when I put chase plane in, obviously this is probably going to change. And then there's something specifically for the arrow. So we have 6. Can I move? How do I move between these? No, that just looks around. I wonder how to scroll between these various different panels. Let's see. Click and hold. Let's see if there's anything here that I can look at and use. In fact, just looking at this, I think the interface does need to be at 100. It isn't quite clear. So, oh well. Okay, so what do we do? Click and hold on any of the tiles to get here in edit mode. Select the tile you wish to edit, and then use the left column to choose what you want the tile to do. Okay, great. We have something called portal. Move your aircraft to various airports, friends, or coordinates. Useful. Position. Get your current position to share with friends. Okay, time. We'll check that out. Weather. The EFB. Cameras. Okay, so that's for all aircraft. Useful. Anything else that perhaps needs to be in here? What's the setting? Oh, no. Do not do that. I click this and then press settings. Change flow settings from this panel. Well, we'll see if that works. Move wheel left and right. Is that then... Okay. All we have to do is use the scroll wheel. That should be easily done. Do I need the settings there? Probably not. Deleting is quite easy. Just hover over it. For example, that. So I can say OK to delete. That's just there to tell me how to do things. Great. Let's see. That is move. Okay, so I can move it to different locations. Good. Useful. That's pretty good. Let's have a look at what else we've got. So, this is just for aircraft. Battery condition. Oh, that just tells me a battery condition. Good. Avionics master, nav lights, beacon. RPM, I have no idea. Toggle engines. Okay. Gear, all lights, reset barometer, reset ACF orientation. Okay. Then we've got our radios. As I said, this is probably going to be the one that's more useful to me. I might even end up putting nav radios in there. And then cameras. And then specifically, we've got things so dynamic wheel. This one is just for the arrow. So if I had things specifically for this arrow, I would put them in here. That's useful. Very, very useful. And then we've got ghost wheels. So I have no idea how the ghost wheels work exactly. We'll have to have a look. To add a community widget, simply copy/paste the name of the folder you added inside your community folder. Okay. And that allows you to add in community widgets. So I'll have to have a look at that. I'll have to see how to actually download community widgets. What would happen if I just press that? Package name does not exist. Okay. So I have to download things and then put them in the community folder, whatever that is. No, that's to add a community. Is that for me to add it to the community? I do not know. I really, really do not know. Let's go ahead and add a couple more things to the radios, just because we can. So radio com 3 active and standby, or do we want to put the nav instruments in? We could put the nav game servers. We could change game server. That's useful. Toggle active pause, toggle head tracking, sim rate plus minus, and quit simulator. Those are somewhat useful as well. In fact, I think toggle active pause might be a useful one to... Mind you, I can just press the key. This is probably more useful when you are pushing your keyboard away from you. I think that is where this would be quite useful. That's just moving. Radios, streaming again, not something I need. Time of day. So that's all the offsets. Set clock to real time. That would probably be useful. Where would I... So if I was messing around with times, I could... Let's drag that one in. There we go. Although I'm not sure that's a good idea, because at the moment this is not set to real time. I've done this a few hours in the past. What other utilities do we have? Stopwatch. Useful. In fact, that's a whole bunch of useful stuff. A stopwatch. Ooh, lovely. Auto top of descent calculator. Metal search, that's really... Here we go. Now we have a bunch of useful things and a scratch pad. Okay, lovely. Weather. What do we have? Random weather, live weather. I'm not going to worry about that. None of those are an issue. I can change the weather as I wish to do so. That's all the game stuff. So I can rename this to utilities. There we go. That's quite useful. Autopilot controls. So if I wanted to, there's just a few autopilot controls here. Camera controls, obviously we've got. This is where chase plane will probably come in. Control key fob. What? Reset the trims. That's useful if you do not have trim control set up. Dev tools, I'm not going to touch, because every time I touch a dev tool things go wrong. That's what the electrical ones are. Fuel, game. So I think we've been through... Ooh, actually, if we want to see things like this. Ultimate Dead Reckoning. No. What is this? I have no idea. Does that just... Ultimate Dead Reckoning. I know what Dead Reckoning is, but... Okay. And info... No, cancel. Remember to click on these before you do this. Informational display similar to what was available in the F... Okay. Okay, this could be interesting. We'll try all of these out in a moment. Yeah, sure. There we go. So I've created a whole bunch of things. Let's have a look at how this works. So let's close that. Let's go into the aircraft and give it a whirl. So get myself seated properly. Let's not knock the microphone and cut my voice out. There we go. That should be better. Right. Barometric pressure is set, so see, that is something I do not need to do. Let's go head tracking on. Lovely. Let's see how these battery bits work. So instead of me clicking here, I'm going to see if I can do it via this. So we'll go toggle battery master. I didn't do anything. Maybe because this battery master works differently. Okay, so maybe for this aircraft I would need to try a specific type or something along those lines. Interesting to note. Let's go ahead and get some lighting in. I don't know why these avionics, this always switches on. Like, switch off, please. Which one of these is to switch it off? This isn't that, is it? There we go. Done. Okay. Do that. Get the flow in. Not the flow as in what I'm doing for flow. That. And we'll get the engine started. Okay, lovely. Right, let's get the rest of the lights on. We'll do pitot heat, landing light. Switch that on, We might try and fiddle with these in the air. That. Now we'll go ahead and switch that on. Okay. Let's get ourselves moving. Let's see how useful Flow Pro is. Now, of course, it might take me a little bit of time to get used to using it. The stopwatch is useful, that I've got in the corner. That's definitely useful. I do wonder if that would show up in the photo mode. So if I were to press control and... Ooh, there we go. Where am I going? That looks useful. If I were to press control and V or shift and V or whatever it is for the control, for the photo mode, would that show up? That is a fairly good question, which I'll try in a moment. Definitely will try in a moment. Let's get ourselves onto this runway. I think I've got myself in a good position. That should give me a headwind. Yep, 10 knot headwind with a very slight crosswind. Which is interesting. It says 10 knot headwind with 9 knot headwind with a 2 knot crosswind. That is not what that windsock shows in the slightest. That windsock is showing 3, 6, maybe 7 knots, 6 knots. Not what we have just seen. Okay, well, let's check this, shall we? Let's use this. Go through. And we'll go to METAR search. Okay, nearest METAR is Edinburgh. So we've got... Okay, this is useful. 260 at 9. Visibility pretty much unlimited. Scattered clouds 2,700. Temperature 3, temperature 5, dew point 3, QNH 1025. I've also noticed that I lose my ability to zoom or anything from here. So if I then How do I get out of this? I just click out of it. Okay, good. And then it takes me back to here. So I can do that. That's a stopwatch. I can drag it around. I can start it, stop it, reset it, remove it. Good. Oh, I remember this. I remember this from FSX. It never used to look like this, but that's kind of useful. Don't know why my frame rate is only showing 30, because it definitely is not. But there we go. Okay, that is quite useful. Auto meta search landing rate. I guess we can leave that on and see what happens. Orbit camera, drone show. Yeah, it's quite easy to change around. Oh, I know what I could use for. Okay, I know what I could use as a potential for this. Another wheel shortcut. I say that. There we go. Middle mouse. That's it. No, do not use middle mouse because middle mouse does this. Right. Yes. Do not do that. Just realised what I'm using middle mouse for. Okay. Well, away we go. Let's get ourselves up and away. And see which way the... See what the wind actually is like. Somewhat shorter runway, but we've got plenty of room to take off, as you can see. Barely any wind, really. Didn't really feel a thing. What do we have around here? So we'll probably come back to this airport or land at Edinburgh, one or the other. I'll figure it out. Let's just climb all the way up and out. We'll see where we go from there. We'll climb up to, we're just going to do maybe 1,500 feet. Let's see what other information we can get with flow. So I do have to move. See, that's weird because the battery master now shows on. Okay, let's see what the barometer reset does. So let's... Okay, again, I cannot actually use... So let's do that, for example. I cannot actually use my mouse. That works. Gear... Yes, I cannot appear to... I cannot use my mouse whilst flow is open. So that's something. That's definitely something to look at. I have to be aware of that. But this is quite useful, so I could just set to real time if I wanted to. Let's have a look at... Let's do that. Set to real time. There we go. Changing how everything looks. Obviously different weather conditions. So we'll go ahead and now we'll go to time, and this is a much better way to do things. So just drag things back. There we go. That is much nicer than much nicer than what we've had before. So as in what we have on standard. I think we should probably level off what we've had with standard Microsoft Flight Simulator controls. Get that nose pointing down now. So I wasn't planning to get to this altitude, but of course with the with what we did with the weather, that just happened. That's okay though. Let's go ahead and make a turn. to the north. And I'm not going to be, what I'm not doing is looking through it with all of the bits and bobs intentionally. I want to try and look at it as I use it. That's a 30 knot headwind. That does not seem right. Pardon the pun. That does not seem right at all. Okay, well, guess we'll figure out what is going on there. Let's see what else we have that we can potentially use. Just get this aircraft trimmed a little. So I can still fly the aircraft, so that is good. It's just mouse control that I lose. So we have got access to the EFB panel, which actually loads up a lot faster. That is something I could put in. Right, I know what else I could put in. Navigraph and all of that stuff. So let's try and do that. So we'll go to this. No, not that. Click to edit tiles. Can we put Navigraph in? Is it here? It isn't. So somehow I have to get Navigraph on here. How do I do that? Search. Navigraph. Nope. Ooh, hang on, I've noticed something else. I typed on that and it turned the aircraft. Okay, I remember reading about this. That's something I've got to be a little bit careful of. So I cannot get rid of this until I've figured out how to put things like Navigraph on here. So if I was to press position, well, that's useful. It tells me what my nearest airfield is. It tells me roughly where I am. So that's the Dundee area that we'll be heading towards. That's actually really quite useful. I suppose we can look at where friends are or formation flying, that sort of stuff. Certainly looks like it. Also tells me where my nearest airfield is and latitude and longitude. That's useful. Go back. Time we've had a look at. We could pause the time as well. That's also useful. Weather. Oh, hello. That's actually really good. So live weather. It is apparently 31 knots. Why is it 31 knots? And clicking on that changes. Oh well, yeah. That's good enough, right? What is the weather? It's a bit nippy. Let's go ahead and if it is 31 knots, perhaps we should turn into. Well, actually, I want to be going that way, so it doesn't matter. But certainly, I am going to have to be worrying about this. Meters per second, miles per hour, kilometers per hour. 29 knots from the west. And then clicking that allows me to change the weather. Oh, that's quite useful. Or randomize. And all of this is a lot faster than... Do I press that to go back to flow? No. All of this is a lot faster than these things up here. So for example, let's press weather up there. Look at that. You saw that slight stutter. Whereas here, that, nothing. Go to change it, absolutely nothing. Time, change, nothing. Very, very useful. So what else we've got? Right, how do I change these radios? Can I? Yes, I can. That's also useful. So I can just hover over those. I do have to click them every time. And then how do I make that go from standby to... No, do not press and hold. Just tap it once and it will swap the radios over. And I'm trying to look at it here and seeing, there it is, those two. Those two are the ones that are swapping. Okay, so I want to change my transponder code. 7317, sure. 6317. Let's try not to use a 7000 code, shall we? That's done. And does that just after you've... Yep, after you haven't been over the actual tile for a few seconds, it clears it up. That, now obviously in this aircraft that is probably not quite as useful, because the transponder code, the transponder is right there, the transmitter or the selector is right there. However, if the transponder was down here, like in some other aircraft, you might want it to be easily selectable and easily changed just by doing that without looking down there, because you are focusing on your flight in question. So in that case, that is quite useful. The one I'm finding the most useful at the moment, you have to go into here to mess around with it. The one I'm finding the most useful at the moment is anything with the latest METAR. 250, I mean, it's very windy up here. That one is useful, and I'm finding, where is it? The weather one. That is really useful. It would be nice if it always opened it in the corner though. I think what's happening here is because this is here, it opens it in the middle. That being said, it doesn't really matter all too much. Well, that airfield looks abandoned. Huh. I'm not going to click on the portal yet because... Well, actually, let's just click on the portal and see what we've got. None of your friends are... do not have any friends on here. So I could just click... I don't want to... Select a location to teleport to. I want to click it, but I'm concerned that if I click it, it's just going to throw me to it without any warning. We'll try it once we are back on the ground. Okay, so usefulness, yes, it is useful. At the moment, perhaps a little bit limited in its uses, I would say. At least from what I'm using of it. I think I need to download some community add-ons, and it would be interesting, for example, to have in this aircraft for the Arrow, I could have a fuel toggle switch here, so change that fuel from the left tank to the right tank without going down there. So I could be looking around, and I can just go ahead and do that. That would be useful. Other things that might be useful in this aircraft, probably not much. This light up here is always annoying, so maybe having that light switch assigned to it would be quite good too. I think those would be the two things at the moment, and possibly what else? Starting the stopwatch on here, that would be useful. So, because the reason I say that is because looking down there and pressing this sometimes can be just a touch difficult. So being able to do it without having to look down at the yoke, or just having the yoke hidden, that would be, well, actually if the yoke's hidden, there's no point in the stopwatch, is there? But that would be, those sorts of things would be useful. Rudder trims and everything I have set on my controls, so that doesn't matter. Parking brake I have set, so that does not matter. Turning the key, again, I can probably manage. Autopilot controls, they're already there. Where are they? I haven't actually set them up, but autopilot controls are already there, so that does not matter. This camera speed and pan speed is useful, I would say. And what does that do? That just allows me to change between various different camera. Oh, yes, okay, that works. And then pilots 4 and 5 are these two. So hang on, what are these? Okay, various drone showcase modes. Oh, I know what these are. These, I'm fairly sure, are 2 I set myself. Or is that what I've done here? Quick views. Oh no, they're on my quick views. Okay. It's not quite as good as, of course, it isn't quite as good as chase plane, but that's fine. Zoom, much easier to zoom in and around. What does move do? Nothing. And I can switch head tracking on and off very easily here. Again, all the controls are just a little bit better than the controls up here. So all of these stutter as you go into them. These just do not. They're just smooth. And that is probably one of the biggest benefits of this. Right, shall we head down towards Edinburgh? I think we probably should. Let's get ourselves situated. 2,750 feet, that'll do. And let's turn in. There we go. We'll just head down south. So yes, actually, very, very good overall. It isn't, again, it isn't as big a game changer yet for me as I thought it would be, but that might just be because I have not set everything up on it yet. But I can see it potentially being a game changer, and I do. The bit that I particularly like is this one, and honestly I might just put this metal search. That these two are really useful because as I'm coming into, so I could easily search, let's go echo. Oh, how do I do that? No. Metal search. Oh, right. Echo Golf Papa Hotel. There we go. That just shows us up just like that. So that's part of the search bar. The only thing is that it does not disable the flight control or the keyboard. That is the only downside at the moment. If that disabled the keyboard, that would make it much easier. Although I will point out that by pressing this and then going to metal search, I cannot actually move my controls, so I'm stuck in this turn at the moment. That's a little awkward. So a couple of maybe flight simulator related issues. Landing rates, I want to see what that is like. That's the notepad. I'm probably not going to care about that. Let's leave that info text on right now for a few moments. Can I drag that? I can drag that around. Let's put that in the middle, or just there for now, roughly. Just so I might bring in a I might do this, and for a screenshot, just bring in a few of these panels to show what is what. So it looks like I can bring a whole bunch of panels up, and it does not appear to be causing me issues. Anything else for the panels I could bring up? I'm not going to bring the metal one up. Again, what's this ultimate? Oh, okay, got it. It's just literally a dead reckoning timer. Fine. Stopwatch. Get that going as well. Just trying to see what would... Okay, the auto search bar does tend... I lose... Okay, with the auto search bar, I lose control of... I appear to lose control of my aircraft. So I need to figure out what is going on there. This stopwatch probably is more useful than this stopwatch, because I can just tuck it away. I wonder if I can remove the stopwatch and bring it back. And will it be continuing? So 40 seconds, I think it was continuing. Yes, it is continuing. Okay, so that's useful. Let's do this. Again, this is not how you would normally fly. This is just to show what we've got. So I'll just grab that quickly as a screenshot, see what comes up. Right, let's go put all this back where it needs to be. That is not required. That is not required. You can go back up there. You can go back up there, then to the corner and up a little. Sure. And you know what? Let's leave the weather up as well. And that's nice. That it isn't intrusive. It's not in your face like these ones are. It's just there. Can I resize these? No. I guess that would be how I resize the entire interface. Maybe I could resize. Let's try and. Wait, it's the info panel, right? Utilities, info. Can I resize that? Use flight levels above that. Use interest of Mercury. Single line. Yep, that's nice. Frame rate. The lat long. Vertical speed. That's probably useful. Let's just try and I'm just going to put a bunch of stuff in. QNH. But I cannot make that. I cannot make it any smaller. What does that do? Editing an imported script will... No, let's not do that. Use flight level above 6,000 feet. Ah, yes, okay. I am noticing something here. So, now I've lost my head tracking because I have... Okay. Because I'm typing, I'm losing things like head tracking, and that's not ideal. So let's switch head tracking back on. And though it's interfering with other things. So what did I press to switch my head tracking off? I have no idea. Try and switch it back on. Enter? Was that what it was? Dot? No. Dot something else. 0. Ah, there we go. 0. Alright, back to... let's have a look at where on earth I am. Recognise the area. It's very, very windy. I do like this. I just wish it was a little bit smaller. It's just a little large. Then could that just be flow No, still that large. So I think it's going to be a matter of actually changing. Yes, I think it's going to be a matter of changing the script. Where are we? Okay, heading towards Edinburgh Airport, just over there. Okay, good. That is where we are going to end this video. I do like this. This is useful. Definitely useful. Let's get down to about 2,500 feet, shall we? And this is also useful to me. This, I guess, is not quite as useful, but it might be an interesting thing to have up. So if you are just interested in what you're doing, so you know where you are, latitude, longitude, all of that kind of stuff, maybe it is in that sense it probably is somewhat useful. Now, it would be nice if Microsoft Flight Simulator could get the lighting working properly, but that's a different complaint for a different episode. What other things do we have that I could potentially use? So I could get rid of that because it works on every tile. Like a flashing of an ident. Why is that there? Why is that not in on? There we go. Let's change. Let's do that. Let's squawk 7,000 again. No. Now we're squawking 7110. 7,000. Okay, perhaps that's a little bit more cumbersome than I would want it to be. But not terrible. That's for sure. Somewhat cumbersome, not that terrible. So we've just got the Firth of Forth just here. Now, as I said, the other things I would want to put on is Navigraph, which I cannot figure out how to. So I cannot figure out how to put Navigraph in. Oh, wait a minute, I found it. There we go. Okay, so there's Navigraph. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. So I can put the flight recorder in, all of those things a little later. Let's just see. Let's get ourselves stabilised around 2,200 feet now. So I've been descending the entire time, getting ready for the landing, but I do not want to be going too low down, as that might cause a bit of an issue, because this is a hilly region. Right. So normally Navigraph, if I click on it here, you'll see that stutter. Multiple stutters. I want to see if at least we can improve upon the first stutter. That's the bit I want to see if I can, or we can, improve upon. So let's attempt that. We'll be crossing to Edinburgh Airport momentarily. So we'll go here. Somewhat. Try that again. We'll see. It's still. I think it's just Navigraph. I do think it's just Navigraph. But having that there is really useful. Let's go ahead and get rid of this one. And then go. Let's select, I don't know, GSX. Not that I tend to use it. But we'll put GSX there. Let's put FCR. Let's put FCR there. There we go. Now we have a full panel. So I can click FCR. That's there, ready to go. I do not want to press GSX because there's a chance things will break. But we shall see. Let's turn in towards Edinburgh. Yeah, it's still stuttery, but maybe a little less on the initial stutter than over pressing this. That doesn't stutter at all, so there was no stutter there, no stutter there. Yeah, otherwise things are all right. Now, I know where the airport is. It's just a matter of whether I'm facing the right direction for this. I guess I am right. Now, zoom in a bit more than that. Yes, and actually that makes it quite useful. I've lost the airport. This was right here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's fine. This actually makes it quite useful for me to the way I'm flying this. This weather tool makes it really, really useful, because all I really need to know is where the wind is blowing, what the pressure is, so I can reset my barometric pressure. There's Edinburgh. And then I can pick my runway if I know what runway I'm landing on. So that's really useful. Really, really useful. Now the other thing I am going to check is, yes, when you go into this mode, it all disappears. So that is really useful too. Well done Parallel42. Trying to remember, I think it's runway 24 is the runway of choice. Swap to that tank, shall we? And we'll turn in for an approach and landing. Very gentle turn in, of course. So 27 knots, 270, that is one very, very powerful gusty wind. Now in terms of performance, one of the things that of course you always want to check is how performant is it. Not really noticed any issues. As I said, in fact, it appears to have improved things as opposed to made anything worse or left things as they are. Another place that you can see the wind is, of course, up there. At 270 at 27, that's just crazy winds. Right, let's get ourselves lined up into the wind and descending for the runway. Probably start slowing down as well. It does not feel like that much wind. As we're descending, I think the wind is dropping off, so it must just be quite windy. at the various different altitudes. Yeah, here it does not feel anywhere near as windy. Let's get this into a descent, because we do need to slow this aircraft down now. But okay, I can definitely see quite a few uses for this. It's just a matter of it is just going to be a matter of getting used to it and figuring out how those community widgets work. I think for most people the essentials will be good enough. I think at the moment all I've done is pretty much use the essentials. So it would be interesting to see what happens going forward as I start figuring a few things out. Different aircraft, I think for a larger aircraft, something like your commercial jets, your Phoenix A320s, PMDG 777s, Just Flights, RJs, things like that, I think you may have way more controls. I can see this being useful maybe on the black square aircraft, for example. It's right, it's really easing off down here, the wind. Let's get this. I say easing off, it's a bit turbulent, but it is definitely easing off. So let's get this aircraft turned back into the runway heading back. Let's even get, yeah, I know, I was gonna say, let's get the landing gear down and some flaps out as we bring the aircraft in to land. It's a bit gusty. That's what I'll say. It's a bit gusty. That's all it is. 14 knots. Maybe it's a bit more than a bit gusty. That's fine. We'll figure it out. Let's see if my landing skills are, oh dear, any good. Truth be told, the answer's probably going to be a categoric no. We are very fast, but that's intentional because of the wind. Landing rates 135 foot per minute. Not great. Not great at all, but you know what? It isn't bad. That was not bad, and that's actually quite useful. That I want to see more of. I will probably have that on every single time, and maybe just have it dead set. No, it'll be in the way if it's dead center. Maybe have it there or something. Yeah, that I will definitely see in use. It was fairly windy. Why? It's still 20 knots. Admittedly, it wasn't much of a crosswind at the end, but still, that's a lot. That really is a lot. It's gonna pull the flaps in. It doesn't try to lift the aircraft. The other reason I was fast was because of that 20 knot headwind as well. So if it's pushing me at 20 knots, I'm only doing 70 over the ground. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, I had a little bit of speed up. But okay, that is my first look at Flow Pro. It's actually let's just clip this because that really should not be there. It's actually really useful, but I think I need to learn how to. These are all in the wrong place. Why are you in the middle of the taxiway? Oh dear. Dear, oh dear. I think I need to learn how to do a few more things on it and with it, but it is definitely a very useful. It's definitely a very useful tool overall. I'm quite impressed with the thing I'm most impressed with is the fact that these sorts of little widgets exist, and they are extremely smooth. That is what I'm most impressed with. Yes, Navigraph charts is as you can see, is a bit of a pain. Maybe that needs to be that needs to be worked upon. But for example, I don't know, like this one, the speed at which that sets to real time, doing this and just dragging that around, that is really, really useful and really, really easy. I'm going to go over that side somewhere. So I do think that all of that is great, and that, again, just the speed at which all of this works. So comes up, disappears without any issues. There we go. And one thing that I did just notice there is that if I drag that off and do that, it's yellow to show it's open, but when I press it, it moves it back to the middle. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to, if I drag that off, do I right click it to close it? No. Yeah, so maybe that is something that needs a bit of work. But using, you know, all these cameras and all of that kind of stuff, that's pretty decent. I do like this top, the information display. Yes, I could do with it being a little bit smaller, or a lot smaller, but it's actually quite useful and very easy to just go and get rid of them. So, you know, I do not need that, goodbye. Do not need that, goodbye. There we go. And I guess the landing rate, no, that's just because of where I've put this. Oh, I've put this in a bad spot. No. Okay, well, I've put things in a bad spot, so I'll put the landing rate. How do I reset it? Oh, that's even better. It tells me where I landed, what the G-force was, and how many bounces I had. So I was just slightly off the centre line, no bounces, and I landed just before the first set of touchdown markers, or the main touchdown markers. Okay, this just gets even better. I just cannot move it from there anymore because I've done that. Is there a way for me to move this landing rate thing? Widget active. Auto hide. No, let's do auto hide. That's probably better. Excellent. Does all of this have... Right, hang on. All of these must have things to reset positions to end this. So we've got Ultimate Dead Reckoning, tooltips, change display, and yeah. So Dead Reckoning is just basically you're going around by timing, and at timing points saying this long in this direction, then I turn here, this long in this direction, etc. Notepad maybe I cannot use as much of. What other things do I perhaps not need? The wind was useful. Fuel remaining is probably useful. Outside air temperature is very useful. QNH, oh yeah, QNH is useful as well. In fact, I think all of this is... Fuel remaining maybe not so useful because I can look at it down there, and in any aircraft I'd be able to see it. But the rest of this, very useful. Let's have a look at anything else. So this is not... Again, these are going to change very soon because of chase planes, so I'm not going to worry about that. That was somewhat useful. Maybe less so than I thought it would be. These are just little scripts, so not much I can do about those. Whoops. Use that. And not much I can do with those. And these, I guess, are... Oh, dear. Oh, wait, I had that. Can I just drag... Did I just drag that around randomly? I have no idea. Yeah, these are just scripts, so not much I can do to those as well. Okay, well, excellent. Not too bad at all. And if you wish to purchase this product, do go check it out on the Parallel42 website. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to click on the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Microsoft Flight Simulator, leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think, any suggestions you might have. I'm going to go to the main menu right here, and let's see if it takes me straight back to free flight. So I've pressed main menu. Takes me directly to free flight, exactly as I want it to be. And let's just load in right back where we were. So we are here. Oh, what? Is that showing where I was lost? No idea. Anyway, let's just load right back here. We'll set that as departure, start flight. This is just a test to see if it goes and bypasses the things that I had it set at the start of the video. So yes, leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. Do you think this is worth it for you? Is it worth it for the price? I think that it is a touch expensive, but once I start using it more, I think it would... yes, it just presses it and it's up and running. Excellent. A little bit jittery. Well done, Microsoft. What have you done now? Why are you all so jittery, Microsoft? No idea. Oh, stopwatch has come up. So did I leave that on last time? Maybe I left that on last time. No idea. Also, it's got rid of this. Unless that's something that has happened before, just not having that in the way anymore. It appears to have just removed it. How do I get rid of the stopwatch? Do I have to do this? That's how I get rid of the stopwatch. Okay, well, there we go. If you take a look in the description box below, you will find links to my Patreon, Discord server, and social media. That is all from me, and I shall see you next time in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, where I shall be taking a look at Chaseplane.